Alright, so here we are. We are on the Legion Alpha, but as the Brewmaster Monk. Yes, that's right, it is back. And we'll get into how the play is on it. It's basically the same thing, but man, guard is surely missed. So the first thing we'll get into is just your basic abilities that we've got here, guys. You've got Blackout Strike. It is no longer Blackout Kick, but Blackout Strike. Requires a two-handed melee weapon and basically strike a blast of chi energy, dealing moderate damage. It's nothing big, guys. Again, this is the tanking spec, so don't expect much. And it's on a 3-second cooldown. Still have Breath of Fire. It's instant, 15-second cooldown. Breath of Fire on targets in front of you, causing very little damage, and then it throws the hot on it. Same thing, guys. If you throw up Keg Smash and you end up doing Breath of Fire, it just does a little extra damage, helps with threat. But the damage here seems really low currently. Crackling Jade Lightning's here. This is your basic pull, guys. Nothing's changed with it. It is exactly the same. Detox, we can end up, cursing our own poisons and diseases. That's going to end up helping. Effuse, small heal in case we got to top ourselves off between pulls. Fortifying Brew has changed. It's now a 5-minute cooldown. It turns your skin into stone for 15 seconds, increasing your current and maximum health by 20%, increasing the damage you delay with Stagger by an additional 20%, and reducing all damage you take by 20%. This is your big cooldown. This is basically going to turn everything into Stagger, and you take very little damage. And then it seems like all these tank abilities are increasing your maximum hit points to kind of give you that little survival buffer too. So we'll see how that plays out. Iron Skin Brew, this is a new active mitigation. Basically, this increases your stagger by an additional 40% for 6 seconds. And it shares charges with Purifying Brew. They're on a 14-second recharge reduced by haste. And as you can see, we currently have 4. They're normally 3, but I do have a talent that's increased it. Keg Smash is the same. It's going to smack them with a deal of brew, and then it also reduces the cooldown on Iron Skin Brew and Purifying Brew by 4 seconds. Again, this is the exact same thing except for that cooldown reduction on your active mitigation. Paralysis is still here. It's still a CC. No changes at all on that one, guys. You can only keep one of them up. Everything's the same. Provoke is still your taunt. They did do a little change on it though. They set it up to where basically it's the same thing as what Clash was originally too. Taunts the target and causes them to move towards you at 50% increased speed. They kind of took the two and mixed them. I don't know if that's the way this is on live right now, but you can tell the last time I played was during Mist of Pandaria, and you still had Clash to where it would pull you two together. So I do miss that ability. I wish you'd bring it back. That was fun. Purifying Brew is your other. This works exactly the same as what's on live, guys, except that it shares charges with Iron Skin Brew. Active mitigation, again, same charges, does the same thing. It's going to clear any of your stacks down here, and they did put a nice little bar on, so we'll see how that works. Resuscitates your res, roll, no difference. Spear Hand Strike, still your interrupt. Tiger Palm, attack with the palm of your hand, dealing X amount of damage. Reduces the remaining cooldown on Iron Skin Brew and Purifying Brew by 1 second. So, as you can see, you're going to have to reduce your active mitigation by beating your target a lot more. So, haste seems like it's going to be a big deal, just for the energy regen and the reduction on cooldowns. So, keep that in mind, guys. Haste looks like it's going to be a real big deal coming up. Transcendence, it's the same. You basically set this up to where you're there, and then you can use transfer and it's going to take you back, and vice versa. No change. It's just a little bit of mobility. If you've got a strat pre-planned, you can use it pretty well. Zen Meditation is exactly the same, and unfortunately on a 5-minute cooldown for this thing, it reduces all damage taken by 60% for 8 seconds. Being hit by a melee attack will cancel this effect. The only good I can see here, guys, is if you get targeted with, I really don't know, a big cast maybe, and you're able to end up using this thing to soak it. That's kind of what all it's used for in live anyways, is to soak it. But for it being a channeled cast, and if you get hit by melee, you can't have any ads on you, nothing like that. So your timing's going to have to be 100%. I wish it would have changed this just a little bit. Well, I mean, it doesn't even do the raid damage anymore. It's just you. That's it. You can't even be off tank and pop this thing to reduce raid damage anymore. So it's a sad ordeal to see this one kind of change up. Zen Pilgrimage, it's the same thing. It's going to take you to your Panda Land area. Celestial Fortune, you have a chance equal to your critical strike chance to duplicate all healing that you receive. This is a neat little piece. It's going to make crit kind of there, but I don't think it's going to be as positive as what a lot of people think. But you're definitely going to need the heals because you still get your ass kicked. There's a lot of damage going out on the monk. You'll see that when I pull the live videos up. There's just a huge amount of damage. And you want to just make sure that whenever you're tanking with this, keep an eye out for your little Pac-Man orbs. They're going to be your saving grace. And here it is, Gift of the Ox. This is the Pac-Man orbs I was just mentioning. It's passive. When you take damage, you have a chance to summon a healing sphere, visible only to you. Moving through this healing sphere heals you for 66,000. The lower your current health, the greater chance to summoning a healing sphere. Now, what this means is, if you're getting destroyed, it's got a better chance to end up proccing this healing sphere on the attacks that are just bringing you real low. And you'll be able to heal up faster. 66, it's a little, I want to say it's like 11% roughly of your health. It's not a huge heal, but it does end up helping a lot, and it has a chance to crit. Remember that. That's a huge deal. And then your mastery is now Elusive Brawler. It does not increase your stagger anymore. You can only do that through your active mitigation. You cannot stack mastery to improve your stagger. Each time you are hit by a melee attack, you gain stacking 14% increased dodge chance until your next successful dodge. Also increases your attack power by 14%. Mastery can be strong depending on how it's going to scale, but right now stacking 14%, that's not too bad. When I was in live, I only noticed that it would stack up to maybe 2 or 3, and then it was gone at this level. That being said, Mastery might be the weakest of the two. You're probably going to go more of a haste crit build over this one here, but that may change. You may end, if they change the functionality of, if it stacks a little better, that'll probably increase along with it. And then stagger, everybody knows this one if you've ever played a Brewmaster monk. You shrug off attacks, delaying 35% of physical damage instead of taking it over 10 seconds. Affects magical attacks at half effectiveness. So basically 35%, this is going to do what? 17.5% for magical damage. Alright. Basic math on that one, guys. Now, considering everything in here is magical damage, it hurts. They did currently say that this is overtuned, and I do not see it. I don't see it at all. If it is overtuned, then wow. Some of the mechanics are going to need some work, because it was a pain. So, into the talents real quick. We're going to go through these, and most of these are basically the same. Level 15, Chi Burst is the same thing. Basically, you just hurl a ball in front of you. They did end up making it to where it does not prevent avoiding attacks. So you'll still be able to avoid the attacks by parrying and dodging as you cast this. But it's going to heal everything in front of you, do damage to everything in front of you. It's not too awesome because it's got a cast time and it's a tanking ability. Eye of the Tiger. Tiger Palm also applies a dot to the target and a hot to you. I was swaying back and forth between this one, but I had to go with my ultimate favorite, Chi Wave, and just every 15 seconds throwing this thing out to where it'll end up helping with the heals, and it also ends up doing a little bit of damage. Level 30, you've got Chi Torpedo, Tiger's Lust, and Celerity. Chi Torpedo is exactly the same as on live. Tiger's Lust is exactly the same as live, and Celerity is pretty much the same thing as live. Increases the number of charges by 1 and reduces the cooldown by 5 on your roll. Level 45, Light Brewing. Passive reduces a cooldown of Iron Skin Brew and Purifying Brew by 5 seconds and increases their maximum number of charges by 1. I took this one because I felt the active mitigation play was going to be a lot better. Black Ox Brew, this is instant. Chug some Black Ox Brew, which instantly refills your energy and your Iron Skin and Purifying Brew charges. This one looked good too because it's on a 1-minute cooldown. Basically, you'd be able to use this on every single pull that you're doing currently in the alpha. Because that's how the trash is. It's lasting that long. I was thinking about taking it, but I wanted to test this one out just to see how it was playing, and it played alright. And then Secret Ingredient, Tiger Palm has a 30% chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Keg Smash. So basically it just gives you more Keg Smash, more AoE damage, and another 4 seconds off of the charges if it procs. So this could be added in there a little later also. We'll see how that plays. You've got Ring of Peace on your level 60. This works the same. It's going to disarm the enemies within 8 yards of you. Summon Black Ox Statue. Yes, that's right. It's now a talent. It does the exact same thing though. Throw it down. It puts the statue there that taunts the enemies, and you can taunt the statue to bring all the enemies to you. Good for picking things up as they come in. Leg Sweep, just a basic AoE stun. I use this for the survivability so it could stop them and basically pick up my orbs. Helped out a good amount. 75 Healing Elixirs. Does the same thing, but this is an awesome amount of healing that it does, guys. Whenever you chug one of these brews, it's not going to let me do it because I'm at full health. But you're looking at 15% of your max health. Alright. Good heal. Real good heal. And then if you're below 35% health, it'll automatically do it too. So, again, it can only happen once every 18 seconds. You will always see the buff marker up there when it's available, so something to keep an eye on. Diffuse Magic, another cooldown. This is going to reduce your magic damage you take by 60% for 6 seconds, and transfers all current active harmful magic effects on you back to their original caster if possible. So it's got a Spell Reflect added in now. That's kind of neat. We'll see how that plays. 2-minute cooldown. Dampen Harm. 2-minute cooldown. Reduces all damage you take by 30% for the next 3 attacks that damage you for 15% or more of your maximum health. Huge hits. This is going to be nice for padding huge hits. It's 2-minute cooldown. One fight that I can see this working really well on is the first boss in the Vault of the Wardens, to where he's constantly jumping out and just pummeling you. The only bad part about it is the Dampen Harm being on a 2-minute cooldown is going to really make a big, huge effect on there. Level 90, Rushing Jade Wind is the same. I use this because the pickup, without having Spinning Crane Kick baked in, the pickup of adds as they float in was a pain in the ass. So I did take Rushing Jade Wind. It is on a 5.06 second cooldown. I don't know what the original is. I'm going to say it's probably 6 seconds base, but reduced by haste. Again, it is instant and it does the exact same effect. Invoke Nizao the Black Ox is a new one. And basically, it summons an effigy of Nizao the Black Ox for 45 seconds. Nizao attacks the primary target and taunts it. So, we can go ahead and pull this one up, and we'll just... Nah, I don't have a target. Let me, there we go. There's that bucket. Just go ahead and watch, and you'll get to see him. And there he is. He doesn't do much of anything. And there you go. That is all he does, and he taunts. So he basically is going to act like the tiger that we had, or Zwen, and just in a different model. That's it. And then you got Special Delivery. This thing was lame as hell. You would end up chugging a brew or something, and then you'd see this keg take off, and then you'd see the little black circle somewhere down here, and it'll smash down, and everything within 8 yards will do X amount of damage and reduce your movement speed. I didn't see it proc a lot when I used it, but it was there. I've done a couple dungeons on this guy. It's fairly simple to end up playing if you've played a Brewmaster before. But this was boring. It was horrible. Hopefully they change it to where you might be able to do something with it. It basically reminded me of the keg toss that we used to have that you could throw on your own, except it automatically did it, and it just looks like it's shooting straight up out of your ass into the air. Retarded. Absolutely retarded. Elusive Dance for your level 100s is passive. Purifying Brew also grants up to 15% dodge for 6 seconds based on the level of stagger damage purified. So, the way I understand this, I didn't use this one. I didn't really see a point in it currently. But Purifying Brew grants up to 15% dodge. So basically, the more that you have in your stagger here... Now mind you, you don't want this to get full because that means you're going to get one shot off of a single tick. So it doesn't specify how much is on there. I did not test it, but 15% dodge. Usually you want to clear your stagger at this general area just to keep the damage down. The whole point of the stagger is to completely negate damage if you can through Purifying Brew. And I didn't see a point in this. The Purifying Brew works. I wasn't going to test it out because up to 15% didn't sound that great, especially if you're doing 1/3. You probably only get 1/3 of what this is going to be, and that's maybe 4 or 5% dodge. Yeah, wasn't worth it, guys, so I went a different route. Fortified Mind, Cake Smashing Tiger Palm now reduce the cooldown of Fortifying Brew. This might be nice, but they didn't say how much it's reducing its by, so I didn't feel like testing it out. But the one I did play with and the one that I enjoyed was an additional 5% stagger through high tolerance. Again, the stagger, the whole point of it is to basically reduce the incoming damage, the heavy hits that are hitting you as you take them through time, and then you can use Purifying Brew to completely eliminate that extra damage. So consider it as damage gone if you play this class right. Honor talents, these are all the same in every single one of my videos. I'm not going through them at all this time. Relentless Assault, passive. Being attacked increases your damage by 3%. Alright, lasts for 10 seconds, stack up to 5 times. Okay, that'll be alright. Yuan's Gift, using roll will dispel all snares affecting you when used. Okay. Eerie Fermentation, your stagger now affects magic attacks at full effectiveness. There's Guard. Go figure it would be under the PvP talents. That pisses me off. Alright, so Guard is now PvP talent from the looks of it, and it absorbs up to 80,000 damage for 15 seconds. Guard will also apply to the closest nearby ally within 10 yards. Why couldn't we have had that on live? Huh? Alright, next one. That just made me mad. Incendiary Brew, instant, 45-second cooldown. Your next Breath of Fire has 100% increased radius and damage, and disorients all targets it strikes for 4 seconds. Alright, that's cool. Excuse me, guys. Admonishment. Your Provoke has a reduced range, but causes the enemy player to be intimidated, increasing their damage taken by 20% for 6 seconds. Your melee attacks refresh the duration of Intimidated. Okay. Play with that one later. Eminence, passive. Reduces the cooldown of your Transcendence transfer by 5 seconds and increases the healing of your Mistwalk by 30%. Okay, not bad. Microbrew reduces the cooldown of Fortifying Brew by 75% and the duration is 66%. I'm not liking these PvP talents right now, and there's just not a lot put into them. It almost seems like they rush through these. Guided Meditation, passive. While Zen Meditation is active, all harmful spells cast against your allies within 40 yards are redirected to you. Zen Meditation is no longer canceled when being struck by a melee attack. There you go. Why can't that be what it is passively? An actual damage reduction. It just really sucks that this thing is useless in PvE right now. You have one cooldown, alright, Fortifying Brew as a Brewmaster on a 5-minute cooldown, and then you have Zen Meditation, which, if you get hit by a melee ability, is fucking useless. Pardon my French, guys, but it's stupid. Soften Blows. Any non-periodic attack that deals damage less than 10% of your maximum health is reduced by 20%. Okay, so if somebody barely hits you, they're not going to hit you any harder. But if they hit you with something hard, it doesn't matter. See, this is what I'm saying. This is weird setup. I don't see why this would matter, because almost everything's going to hit you hard as hell because you like a clothy, but the only thing that saves you is your stagger. So is that going to be counted in? Again, this seems like it's really rushed. Fast feet. You move 15% faster for 3 seconds after being attacked. Alright. They took that one straight out of Hot's, what's her name? Lily? Hot Trub. Yeah, Hot Trub. Alright. Passive. Purifying Brew. Deals 25% of your stagger damage to all enemies within 10 yards. That's a cool effect. I think that's going to be pretty nice. If you're staggering, you know, a high amount, even if it isn't a high amount, if it's doing 25% of that to everybody, that's just making that enemy healer work harder. So yeah, I can see that one. That's kind of neat. Craft Nimble Brew. Alright, now we're becoming the artisans of beer here, guys. Craft a Nimble Brew to share with allies. Maximum of 2 can be carried at once. Nimble Brew removes all root, stuns, fear, and horror effects. It reduces duration of future such effects by 60% for 6 seconds. Sorry, I'm having trouble reading that one for some reason. And alright, we'll give him that one too. It looks pretty decent. And then you got Mighty Ox Kick. Instant 1 minute cooldown. You perform a Mighty Ox Kick, hurling your enemy a distance behind you. So you're donkey kicking this guy is all it is. Alright, we'll take it, I guess. It plays with the fantasy a little. So there's that, guys. We've gone through all of that stuff. We've gone through our talent choices, and now we're going to get into the actual gameplay of how this thing is working with all of this stuff. So we will see you here in just a moment so we can get into the play. Alright, so here it is, guys. It's the Brewmaster. Pretty dangerous little spec right here. Is it as powerful and overtuned as they said it was whenever they released it? No, I don't see that. But they are doing fairly well. If you've played a Brewmaster before, you know that you're basically going to be dancing around any little bit of trash that you can to grab your Ox Orbs, Gift of the Ox, which are those gold orbs that are on the ground. Grabbing those is absolutely amazing. Now you can see I had trouble picking up stuff in this pull right now, and the reason for that was because I didn't take Rushing Jade Wind, and there it is. Got the Rushing Jade Wind, gonna take it and run with it as best as possible. Now the biggest problem that I can see with monks right now is currently they're under the same little situation to where they can get hit and they can get hit hard, even though you have that new ability to where after every time you take a hit, it increases your chance to dodge by X amount of percent. That is your new mastery. How useful it is, I'm not 100% sure yet. It's still alpha, it's still testing. We'll see how this plays out. But so far the spec feels good. It's playing decent. There's no more chi, obviously. You don't have that. You do not have guard on the PvE side, but they do have it on the PvP side. And that really... that was like your go-to to kind of save your ass or lock it in for big cooldowns. But now you're using your Iron Skin Brew. Your Iron Skin Brew is actually the only way that you increase your stagger amounts to completely negate damage. You basically, big hit coming in, use your Iron Skin Brew and then automatically purify it off, and you never even see that extra damage that you would have. So gameplay is basically the same. No longer have spinning crane kick baked in. The mobility is still there 100%. The self-healing is really nice. I felt like in most of the dungeons that I did with this, the healers were really light on healing me, and I'm not sure if that was true or what's going on, but I had no problems on bosses. Some of the trash, it would just destroy me. And so I know that wasn't the healer's side, but if you end up playing it like a Brewmaster is supposed to and do the kiting and pick up your orbs, you'll do perfectly fine. The only major issue that the other major issue I had with this was your orbs. They appear. The problem with it is, if you're not standing literally right on top of this orb, you do not get the healing. I wish they had some sort of mechanic like the Demon Hunter to where when you get so close, it'll come to you instead of having to be right on top of it, because being right on top of it was absolutely retarded. It didn't work. It was a pain in the ass, and it makes you have to move around too much. It's pissing off your melee. It's not a good deal if you've got melee. And a lot of these fights that I'm looking at lately, you're going to want at least one melee to end up helping with interrupt rotations with the tank. And that's just in the dungeons. In the raids, I've got my heroic scenarios one in there, and there's a tree that actually, the tree ad that actually does a stomp, and it has to be split amongst a bunch of different people. If it's not split, it's going to kill you. So melee is actually a thing again, which is nice. I mean, there's a lot of people that enjoy playing melee, and they had to switch because most of the fights lately have not been that way. So we'll see if they stick with this model. But you can see we're in the archway. They've already changed this dungeon a bit, but it's not too much different in the ways of difficulty. This boss, you can end up comparing it with one of my Vengeance Hunter the archway video I did with my Vengeance Demon Hunter. Sorry, trouble's talking first thing in the morning here, guys. But the damage is about the same, if not a little bit less, on the monk single target. So we'll see how that one plays out. But when it comes to a group of mobs, the monk does not take it. You can pick it up really well. It's probably this would pulling the mobs. I know that one of the big techniques, which I never really ended up getting into it too much. I probably should have, but I was never a pro brewmaster by any means. But using your Black Ox statue, which is still there, it's just a talent now. And that's how a lot of them ended up doing the larger pulls. They do that, pull one off, and so on and so forth. So that helps out a lot. But picking up the larger ads, doing stuff, this trash never even once bugged us. We got swapped to Discipline Priest, but at this point the Disc Priests were still bugged. So this guy was working his butt off to try and keep everyone up because the atonement bug apparently wasn't scaling up. Real troublesome, guys. If you look into these fights, though, the pickups there, the damage is still pretty nice on a Brewmaster Monk, which is good. It's not overpowering by any means, but you still have the same kind of mechanics where you keg smash your ads, and then you can, you know, hit them with Breath of Fire and go at it. Your new artifact ability basically will pad, you know, if you have to pull a big group, you can throw this thing out, and it reduces the damage that the mobs end up doing to you, and does like a fire taking damage. All it is a fire keg, guys. You throw this big old fire keg at them, it blows up, they get a dot on them, and it also ends up causing a damage reduction. Almost like the brand that you see the Demon Hunters having, if you've seen anything with them. Again, the spec hasn't changed all that much. I mean, it has had a lot of changes, but in the actual gameplay, all they've done really is bake a lot of stuff into where it's passive. What you see out there is all the abilities that I've got right now on those bars. No need for a bartender like before. So that being said, guys, it's the same spec. It really is. There's not a lot of changes. It's still pretty fun and stressful all at the same time. If you've played Brewmaster, you know what I'm talking about. So enjoy the rest of the video, guys. I'll get with you at the end of it. I mean, this trash here has been a pain in the ass. Even with any tank that I've taken through here, they've been a pain. So just kind of watch, see how the difference is. You can always pull up any one of my other videos and see how they're doing also in comparison. Alright, guys, thank you, and I'll talk to you here in a second at the end of the video. Alright, so we're on the last boss. We actually didn't get to kill this guy due to lack of interrupts. He was just smoking me way too damn hard. And this is part of the problem, I guess. I could have taken like diffuse magic or something to reduce the magic damage. But I don't think that would have helped on the 2-minute cooldown. Thanks again, guys. I really appreciate y'all coming out and checking these videos out with me. If you do like them, definitely do that. Slap that like button. Give me a subscribe. That way you can always get the greatest content right up at the beginning, and we'll get back to you. Thank you very much.